Most nation-state hackers work for their government and follow their government's orders. APT41 does something different. They work for China's Ministry of State Security, stealing intellectual property, surveilling dissidents, advancing Beijing's geopolitical goals. And then, after hours, they use the same infrastructure, the same tools, and sometimes the same compromised networks to steal virtual game currency, commit financial fraud, and deploy ransomware for personal profit. They are simultaneously government intelligence assets and independent criminals. The US DOJ indicted 5 of them in 2020. All 5 are in China. APT41 is designated as a threat actor by FireEye and Mandiant, who track it as a group with documented ties to China's Chengdu 44 network technology, a front company with connections to the Ministry of State Security. The group's 2 distinct operational modes align with a phenomenon analysts call moonlighting, conducting personal criminal activity while employed as government hackers. China's intelligence apparatus appears to tolerate this, perhaps because it provides plausible deniability and keeps talented operators loyal through financial reward. APT41's espionage targets follow China's strategic interests precisely. Healthcare and pharmaceutical companies during COVID-19 research. They targeted COVID-19 vaccine developers specifically. Defense contractors holding weapons system designs. Semiconductor manufacturers. Telecommunications providers whose networks carry sensitive government and military communications. Their theft of intellectual property supports China's industrial strategy, acquiring technology and research that would otherwise take decades to develop independently. APT41's technical sophistication is among the highest observed from any threat actor. They routinely exploit zero-day vulnerabilities in Cisco routers, Citrix ADC, Zoho Manage Engine, and others before patches are available. Their custom malware library is extensive. MessageTap for intercepting SMS messages from telco networks, Python Plug for persistence, DUDPN, and Sparkling Mix as loader frameworks. They use living off-the-land techniques, abusing legitimate Windows administration tools like WMI and PowerShell to blend into normal network traffic and evade detection. Their criminal operations target the video game industry specifically. APT41 members compromised game studios to steal virtual currency, in-game gold, coins, credits, then sold it on secondary markets for real money. They accessed video game company networks to manipulate in-game economies, steal source code, and harvest payment information from player accounts. The FBI's investigation traced millions of dollars in fraudulent virtual currency transactions. These attacks were conducted using the same tools and infrastructure as their government-sponsored espionage operations. APT41 was also linked to the supply chain compromise of NetSarang, ASUS, and CCleaner, legitimate software products whose update mechanisms were subverted to deliver malware. The CCleaner compromise in 2017 was particularly significant. CCleaner is a widely used system optimization tool downloaded by millions of users. APT41 inserted a backdoor into a legitimate CCleaner update, which was then distributed automatically to an estimated 2.27 million users. From those users, they selectively chose high-value targets, technology companies including Samsung, Sony, and ASUS, for second-stage payload delivery. APT41's use of supply chain attacks means the threat is not always direct. A company targeted by APT41 might never receive a phishing email. The malware might arrive through a software update from a trusted vendor. This is why verifying software integrity, checking cryptographic hashes of software packages, validating that updates come from expected sources, using application whitelisting that flags unsigned executables, matters even for organizations that consider themselves low profile. The initial victim in a supply chain attack is rarely the final target. Detecting APT41 is particularly difficult because they invest heavily in anti-forensics and detection evasion. They use legitimate administration tools, move slowly through networks to avoid triggering behavioral thresholds, and clean up artifacts after operations. The most effective detection approach is user and entity behavior analytics, baselining normal network behavior and flagging deviations. When a database server that normally handles customer queries suddenly begins sending SMTP traffic to an external IP at 2 a.m., that behavioral anomaly is the signal, regardless of whether any individual tool is recognized as malicious. The 2020 DOJ indictments of 5 APT41 members, Zhang Haoren, Tan Dalan, Zhang Liji, Chen Chuan, and Fu Cheng, were a significant legal step but had no operational impact. None have been extradited or arrested. The indictments do, however, serve a naming and shaming function within the intelligence community. They signal to China that their operatives have been identified, burned their cover, and can no longer travel internationally. But for organizations defending against APT41 today, the operative reality is that these individuals continue operating. Government spies by day, video game currency fraudsters by night, using the same tools on the same infrastructure. APT41 is the most unusual and arguably most dangerous threat actor profile currently active. If you want to understand the North Korean equivalent, a state-sponsored hacking group that also prioritizes financial crime, but focused entirely on cryptocurrency theft at industrial scale, our video on the Lazarus Group, North Korea's state hackers who stole $3 billion in crypto, covers their full operation.